Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classics of Cinematics, and I'm joined as always with my co-host. We got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo, yo, yo!
Yeah, folks, and today we got a special film. We're going to be talking about The Good Son from 1993. And this film is directed by Joseph Rubin, and the synopsis is this. Mark, a young boy who loses his mother, must stay with his extended family while his father is away on business. Mark becomes acquainted with his cousin Henry. However, the extent of Henry's depravity becomes more clear when Mark sees him kill a neighbor's dog and intentionally create a traffic pileup on the highway. After a supposed mishap on an icy pond with Henry's sister, Mark tries to reveal Henry's crimes before it's too late. So this film stars Macaulay Culkin as Henry. We also get Elijah Wood as Mark in this film, and Quinn Culkin, who's Macaulay's sister, who plays his sister in this film. Connie. We also get Rory Culkin in here. We also get Wendy Crewson, who plays Susan Evans. We also get Daniel Hugh Kelly as Wallace. David Morse, his face is so familiar, man. When you see him, it's always cool to see him in a movie. He plays Jack Evans, who's Mark's dad. And we also get Jacqueline Brooks, who plays Alice Davenport, who plays a therapist who gets pulled into this thing, toward the end. And there's a bunch of other players, to fill out this town and community that this thing takes place in.
I mean, I love this movie. I have since I was a child, but what was cool, what I didn't know, is how it really came off the ground. So the project and the concept for the film began in 1988 and was funded by Universal Studios, with Brian Gilbert originally set to direct, and Michael Klesick was cast as Henry. But then the movie was put on hold due to lack of funding. And then a couple years passed, and after the success of Home Alone and Silence of the Lambs, Fox chose to revisit the project, attaching Michael Lehman to direct, and Jesse Bradford was now to replace Klesick as Henry, because Klesick obviously got too old. But this is where it gets wild. This is where you find out how much pull Macaulay Culkin's father, Kit Culkin, had in Hollywood at the time, because he then yet again put the project on hold because he wanted his son, Macaulay Culkin, to play the role to show his son's acting ability and his depth and range in playing a darker character, to keep him from getting typecasted as that nice neighbor kid next door, with the roles that he was playing in Home Alone 2. He actually even went as far to say that if Macaulay was not given the role in The Good Son, he was going to pull him from the Home Alone 2 project.
What?
So, yeah, dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah.
Talk about, you always hear about show business moms. Show business dad.
So he bullied up. And then so the film was then again put on hold so Macaulay could finish out doing what he needed to do with Home Alone 2. And during that time, there was another director switch. And that's when Joseph Rubin was brought on board. And at that point, Kit Culkin then again started chest thumping with him and pretty much told him that he also wanted his daughter, what was it?
He was trying to get everybody.
Yeah, he wanted his daughter, Quinn Culkin, to get the role. And he even went as far to say, put my youngest son, Rory Culkin, we want him to be the picture of baby Richard. So after all of that and all that bullying by Mr. Kit Culkin and getting his whole family damn near put on in this film, the film was made, and the final product is what we get on film, which I actually really like, because when you really think about this as a whole, this is another case where the story kind of excels through the character building and development. You know what I mean?
Concept is definitely interesting. The idea of an evil kid, and out here doing crazy stuff, that's something that I think can always people's interest, so that's definitely a big draw for this film.
Absolutely. And they got the good versus evil approach. But what I think really also kind of works for this film is because in the 90s, mental illness and mental awareness wasn't really highly talked about. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of something that if it happened in your home, it was kind of dealt with behind closed doors. And this film kind of puts mental awareness on the front street.
We don't know what's making Henry tick. They don't really go into that. Like if it's a mental thing or trauma. Like he seems to be normal kid, got everything. His parents have given him everything. He didn't have no struggle. So it's just like this guy just seems evil. You know what I'm saying? Like on his, I don't know. They never go into what's causing it. I mean, unlike things where we've seen with serial killers, you can see, well, traces back to his mom, or there was a traumatic event, or there was something bad. We don't get none of that. This dude is just bad.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, I mean, we see he's unhinged. We see he's a master manipulator. But one thing that is definitely obvious is that he is obsessive, almost to a jealous point of his mother and his attachment with her and how she distributes her attention. Like, if you look at who he targets when he targets baby Richard or the sister Connie or even Mark for that matter, you know what I'm saying? Anyone who the mother seems to give her love, affection, and attention to outside of him ends up becoming next one he puts in the scope.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But then you think about the other situations that are going on, like with the dog. His mom hasn't had no interaction with that dog. The windows, the everything else he's doing is just really weird. And I think it does make it more interesting that he doesn't like. I think one of the things I play with this film is the concept of evil. What is evil? Yeah. That comes up, a few times in this. And I think there are cases where some people are just rotten, bro. They don't need no trigger. There's nothing.
You're right.
They just wanna like this thing reminds me of that Boondocks episode so much. Like, it's fun to do bad things. Like with even on later on, and it's funny because that episode actually bit off of this, where the two where Riley is fighting his friend, the smoking with cigarettes, and it has a showdown. They even copied the dog scene from this in that episode, and it's funny because even that character in that show was like, he's just bad. Like, there's no point to trace it to. Yeah, there's some jealousy and all that, but really, what's making them tick? And we don't really get that.
That's true. And and like we were saying before we started recording, I think some of it also has to do with now he has an audience. Like, I think he was bad before Mark came, but now that he has somebody that can, not only can he bring into these things that he's doing, but also that can witness how far he's willing to go and how much he's willing to do. Yeah. I think that also is adding some emphasis to it, because like with the dog, for me personally, what I see is that he killed the dog to see if Mark, like how Mark was going to react, to see if are we kind of similar, are we alike, are you down with the shits like I'm down with the shits. But then when he finds out that Mark is not, then the next thing that they do is he creates this Mr. Highway doll, and he was going to drop the doll in front of oncoming traffic regardless, but he was only going to do it now with Mark because he wanted Mark to have his hands dirty too, because he didn't want Mark to snitch him out.
That's part of him, his kicks he's getting off. He likes making people uncomfortable. He likes to startle, and like you said, Mark becomes his audience, and because Mark didn't react with that enthusiasm and glee over what they did, now he knows that not only he has an audience, but he gets even more kicks off of making Mark uncomfortable, seeing how far he can push him. He likes seeing him like, oh my God, and he doesn't really turn on him until he totally is disgusted by him. Like, dude, what the hell did you do? I don't want to hang with you no more. He starts pushing away. Like the it's funny. There's scenes where the parents we're going out, and he's like, I don't want to hang out with him. Like, you can see that with the sister too. Like, that's kind of interesting. He's like, I just hang out in my room and like I don't, it's wild, man. It's pretty cool the way they do gradually build that up.
It really is cool. And one of the defining moments for me with Henry and his mind state is after they drop Mr. Highway, when they're hiding under the tunnel, and he looks at Mark and he says, once you realize you can do anything, you're free. You can fly and nobody can touch you. That's his mindset. Like, Henry he's not confined by morals or restricted by regret or remorse. He's hollow as an individual,
but he's also getting away with a lot of shit too.
He is,
kid.
And he's not even scared to get caught.
Like, that stuff is because he's always got some quick explanation. Like there's some wild scenes later where Mark's trying to bring attention to him, and Henry's just sabotaging him every step. He's like, "Oh my God, he's not being himself." He's
been acting kind of weird. I'm gonna go check on him.
Even when he goes to see the shrink and all that, man, it's crazy, man.
But that's a testament to masterful manipulation, because he is definitely like. He's
playing all of that. He's taking advantage of him being a kid,
and also him being a child that just lost his mother, who is grief stricken, and who everybody is expecting to be a little more off their rocker a little bit or a little more susceptible to doing these kind of things. But, ultimately what we get from Elijah Wood as Mark is he's a good kid.
He's a good victim.
He's a great victim. He's a great victim.
Can we say that? I think so. We're talking about roles and performances.
Yes.
He plays a very good victim.
Yes, and a very believable victim at that too. Because what he's portraying himself, he's just a regular kid that likes to get into regular kid mischief, like throwing rocks through windows or smoking the occasional cigarette. Which I saw that they said that there was not a cigarette that they had them smoking. It was dried lettuce and parsley. So that's probably why he was hacking up a lung. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dude, no wonder he was hacking like that. He probably would have been better off with just regular tobacco.
Smoke that stuff and ain't even got no nicotine, man. That's whack. Yeah.
But yeah, it's messed up because Mark is like he's painted in a corner because he's trying to do once Henry keeps pushing the envelope, like it really gets bad once Henry starts wearing both sneakers. Like, and the director said that he had him wearing the one black, one white sneaker to kind of represent like a good versus evil kind of concept, and like a which I don't
just get that kid regular shoes.
Just get
nobody's checking for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I noticed because I read that before one of my rewatches. I noticed he did that after he actually bodied the dog. So I was like, okay, cool. But after that, that's when he really starts painting Mark in this corner where he's like, he is messing with him in
that's
every
a weird
level.
Thing, though. That just now that you say that, I think that is missing because is this a break period? Like he's not going to school.
Yeah, it's winter break.
Okay.
It's winter break.
So this is happening over the course of maybe like a week or two.
Yes.
All of this is going down. So all right, that makes sense.
So it's quick. It's quick strike. He is trying to get all of his thrills and kills in 1 week's time. You know what I'm saying? But then also he's wise enough to know at this young age that he can still pin all this on somebody else, so he still won't get caught.
It's a good situation for him. It gives him someone to mess around with, and like I said, man, I think this goes different if Mark was more open to what Henry was doing, like all of it, then they're a team and a duo, and it doesn't get to where it's at, which would be even more messed up, so.
Yeah, exactly. But then, the thing of it is that, when you look at like the parental aspect, Wendy Crewson as Susan, who's Henry's mom, like I liked her, cause she was good at being the protective parent in denial. Like she didn't want to see that her kid was doing anything wrong, but she was fully aware that bad things kept happening when Henry was around. Like you see it when she saw it with baby Richard. How was Henry the first one to find him in the tub, drowned? And then you see it again with Connie when she got thrown into the ice. It's like, dude, when you are around, bad things happen to the ones that you are supposed to love and care about or even be protecting.
But also, the person that's doing that is one that you care about and are protecting. So
exactly.
It gives them a perfect cover. You're not thinking, you just probably in your head like, why me, God? Instead of just like, hey, hold up.
But then, because then when Mark goes and tells her, he's like, yo, something's wrong with Henry, man. He threw Connie in the ice, and she's like, smacks him. You don't talk about my kid like that. He ain't gonna do that. But then that does kind of open a Pandora's box for her, where she goes into the secret shed. Where that's another thing. I never knew a kid that had a secret shed.
But that's the thing, man. Some parents are crazy, bro. Like I know my mom will go through my
I was about to say, yes, parents.
Christmas Day, she was like, "What's this?"
Exactly.
And I had a half a blunt in a Red Man cassette tape thing, and I was like, "Damn it,
yes,
I didn't get what I wanted for Christmas that year either."
Yes.
Hey, you took my blunt
and flushed it. Oh, that's a lose-lose. Yes, exactly. I was like, man, a secret shed. Yes, I never even had a secret drawer. I was like, yeah, man, how many knives I got confiscated and
going through all that,
cigarettes and all these unmentionables. Come on, man. Yes. So parents, if your child has a secret shed, rummage through it, because once she does, that's when she finds the rubber ducky.
It reminds me of Macaulay's previous film, Home Alone. How
Buzz had the secret chest.
Buzz had all man. Buzz could have had a
BB
grenade
guns,
launcher in there.
Playboys.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so once she, yeah, right. So once she goes through the shed, she finds the rubber ducky that she was looking for once Richard passed, because that was the toy he had in the tub, and that is the first time she sees Henry
a connection
snaps.
with him to the scene,
and then he snaps. He's like, "Give me my duck! It was mine first." And then shortly after that, my man Henry tries to throw his mom off to her thinking cliff. Straight pushes her off the thinking cliff, having her think that he was going to try and jump himself. And then it's wild because, like, of course, then, him and Mark get into this like little tussle and everything while Mama's trying to use her mom's strength and climb back up the cliff and everything. And then she's, they both fall off the cliff. She's holding each one of them and has to make a choice. And, they both slipping and everything. And dude, well, she saved Mark.
None of these problems. Both of y'all crazy.
He's crazy, but but my thing is, it's like and I'm wrong for thinking this, bro. I'm wrong for thinking this. But when she let Henry go, dog, there was a part earlier where he said he thought he could fly.
Hey, you gonna fly, yo?
Put some wings on him, man.
That would have been so cold if Mark just looked down and I said, "You can fly now.
You can fly now." Tell me how that rock tastes at the bottom.
Wow, man. Like the other interesting thing that's going on is the like those scenes. There's a few of those that happen where Mark is trying to confide in these adults, and they're just not expecting any of this.
No,
and I think that part of the film does feel realistic because no one's expecting kids to be acting like this or doing what, especially not these kids, not from this environment. That are like, it's just not. It's just not, something that you're prepared to think about even,
Yeah, like this is such a wholesome area. Like, the one part that, like, just as a parent, what I'm saying, that would have just really raised an eyebrow for me or really made me concerned was that part where they go down in the middle of the night and they see him, putting all of the food in the garbage disposal. Yeah. Like, what would have prompted a child to take all of your food and just start disposing of it? Like, and then he's like, no, he's trying to kill y'all. He's trying to poison y'all. I mean,
but that's the thing.
He didn't just think that on his own.
They're already just like it's just something you're not thinking about. He just looks more weird than you would think that. Oh, maybe my other kid was up to something. Like, and plus, like I said, you got that hanging over him. The loss of his mom. Yeah, that's definitely hanging over him.
And then they start treating him like, damn, we should have never offered to watch him while his dad's on business, man. He crazy. Oh, wow. I like this. The setting is really dope. It encapsulates everything, and it happens in this environment where it's like subtle suburbia.
This shit look like Castle Rock.
Yeah, it's like there's nice houses, and there's all these wooded areas, and this little like boat canal, and then you got like in the woods, you got the tallest, most unsafe, scariest treehouse ever made. You know what I'm saying? Which like who in the hell would climb that? Okay, I would have known right out the gate. Me and Henry couldn't be friends when he was like, "Yeah, come on, we got to climb to the top." I'm like, you ain't gonna like me too much because I'm not climbing that shit.
Nah, that was a common thing though. Treehouse.
Yeah, treehouses that are maybe a story up.
That's one of them things you wanted as a suburban kid, or you read stories that had treehouses. You're like, man, I wish I had a treehouse,
but not one that's 80 feet in the air.
It don't even matter as long as you can climb up in it. Like Bart Simpson's joint. He was like, man,
shit.
I do like also in this that shrink scene where he goes in. And Mark is telling this lady, like, yo, this professional, like, yo, he's asking the questions he's asking. Yeah. It's like, is anyone like just straight evil? Like, what, like just purely, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And she's kind of brushing it off in her clinical way, explaining it away. And then it's interesting when Mark comes in there, Henry comes in there and Henry starts poisoning her against Mark. It's like, yeah, something's wrong with him. I think like it's so crazy. Yeah. So then Mark comes in at the end of that session and it's like, he's trying to blah blah, and she's like, are you? She's looking at him funny, like he's talking crazy, which is interesting because most of this film is Mark doing that with adults in this film. It's like I can't even trust the people who are taking care of me, who are supposed to look out for me, because this dude has been so good at poisoning them against me, you know?
Yes, I mean, Mark is on an island by himself because he can't trust Henry and he can't trust the adults. The only person that he can trust is Connie, and he has to protect her. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's wild, dude.
But even that was also a circumstance because Henry's seeing that him and Connie are getting cool and close. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing he could use to hurt Mark with.
Oh, he does.
Set him up
when he tossed her little ass in the thin ice.
That's probably the most disturbing scene in this, though.
Yes.
Even though, like rewatching it, it felt like I forgot what happened. I didn't know. I was like, are they gonna pull her out?
Yeah.
She's gonna die.
And I mean, and my man just he's laying there like giving the impression that he's trying to save her, like the way.
Yeah, I haven't watched this since it came out, dude. It was probably, it was like '93, man. I was listening to Wu-Tang and Nas and going to school, like it just. I watched it. I remember liking it, but the memory of it just faded over so much time.
But man, it's like I said, these are great performances. I mean, like it did what it was supposed to do for Macaulay Culkin's career. It showed his ability to not be typecast, even though this was his last highly grossing film.
Yeah,
he
didn't really do much really after this.
No,
I mean, he probably worked, but as far as making films that made impact, I don't think there was anything after this. Really,
after this one,
it wasn't a Home Alone sequel.
After this one, I want to say it was The Page Master and Richie Rich, where Richie Rich did good once it got to like cable and video, but both were box office busts. I mean, this one had a $17 to $28 million budget, and worldwide ended up grossing $60.6 million.
That's crazy to me. I think a lot of that was probably his salary.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like that. This film,
no.
Like even now, I'm looking at the quality of this print. I don't know if they did a version on Blu-ray where they rescanned it, and you don't really see it in the production design or anything. This thing looked like it was made on a budget, to be honest.
It definitely was, and that was one of the things that they said coming out the gate when they first put this film in motion originally in '88, is that it was going to be a film that was made on a budget, and I think they didn't want to go over 12 mil. Mm-hmm. But then
I don't think you needed to be honest.
Really didn't have to. But you know, another thing that I like the cinematography. I think it was shot really well. I think that the you know, all the close-ups, you can really kind of feel the fear, especially in Elijah Wood's face, like when he's dangling from the tree house. And dude, that one part where they're both hanging on the cliffs, do you know they actually were suspended in the air? Like they were hooked to like little harnesses and stuff. And then the part where Macaulay Culkin actually, like the camera where it's panning out and he looks like he's falling, he actually had to do a 30-foot drop. And he said the only way he was going to do that, he told his dad, if I do this, I'm going to make it look great, but you got to buy me a BB gun. Yeah. So he got his gun.
That is wild, man. That is wild. That's what's up, man. But yeah, this has been a problem child, man. Not problem child. This has been
a story about a problem child.
This has been a good son, man, from 1993. It's not streaming anywhere right now, so you may have to rent it. It's available to rent digitally or get a copy on DVD.
Yeah, I had to dig this one off the movie shelf. But one thing I will say, I did like the rewatches. Its rewatchability is there, you know. So it's
it's a short film too, man. It's like 126 minutes.
If that. Yeah. So I mean, and the thing is that if you've never seen it before, it does carry shock value.
Not 126, my bad. Like
88 minutes.
86 minutes.
Yeah. I knew what you meant, though. But yeah, so like I said, the rewatchability is there, and for those who haven't seen it, it does have shock value on a first time watch. It's wild seeing these characters in this role, especially Macaulay Culkin, and you know the start of what would become a very promising career for Elijah Wood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, man. Well, I think we can wrap this up, folks, man. You can catch us on the next show, man. This has been an episode of Classics of Cinematics. Make sure you click on the QR code to check out some merch if you want to support us that way. Like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. And we're also on Instagram at Classics of Cinematics. And you can catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter and Instagram.
And this is Bobby Blockbuster. As always, you can catch me on the next show, but you won't catch me in no tree houses that are 80 feet up in the air.
All right,
keep my feet on the ground.
Yo, the funniest thing.